Welcome back to VC Football. If you watched my group stage predictions video, first of all, you are awesome. If you haven't watched, be sure to click the link right here. But if you did watch that video, you will know that I had these teams making it through to the round of 16. Now, most of them I did get right, but there are a couple that need to be corrected. First one I see here is Atletico Madrid, eliminated outright, didn't even make it to the Europa League, given the group that they were in. Whew. But all props to Club Brugge, they made it through to the knockout round of the Champions League, so to all of the fans, kudos to you. My second incorrect prediction was another Spanish team, Sevilla, who was not able to make it into the knockout stages thanks to German side Borussia Dortmund in Group G. And lastly, we have Juventus, the old lady with some terrible performances. Benfica, kudos to you, and took the top spot in Group H. So here are the correct teams that made it through to the next round, the round of 16 in the UEFA Champions League. All around, I got 13 out of the 16 spots correct, so I think that's pretty good if I do say so myself, but let me know what you think of it in the comments below. We have some amazing fixtures to look forward to in the round of 16, and we're going to start things off at the top, Frankfurt taking on Napoli. The German side Frankfurt was able to win the Europa League last season, while the Italian side Napoli is arguably the most informed team getting out of the group stage. In fact, Napoli is the team with the most goals so far in the competition with 20. On the domestic front, Frankfurt is not having a bad season by any means, currently 5th in the Bundesliga. But their opponent Napoli can top that as they are firmly in first place currently in the Serie A. A lot can change between now and February, but I don't think I can go wrong by betting on the team who is scoring goals for fun. I have Napoli making it through to the quarterfinals. Second matchup in the competition, and I must say, this one is gonna be the least competitive out of the entire fixtures. I won't spend a lot of time on this one. RB Leipzig will be taking on Manchester City, and nothing against the German side, but I just feel like the citizens should be able to advance without any troubles. Guardiola's men boast the second highest passing accuracy, and with it, the best possession so far in the competition. Add to that the monster that Holland has become with the English side, and for me, I just see a one-sided affair with the aforementioned Norwegian just causing all sorts of issues for RB Leipzig. My prediction, Manchester City will easily make it through to the quarterfinals. Up next, Club Brugge will take on Benfica in what, again, I must say is an excellent matchup. Club Brugge in particular has been a defensive wall with 5 clean sheets out of the group stage. For comparison, that is tied for the most alongside Bayern Munich. Not too shabby being grouped up with the Bavarians, huh? But Benfica have been amazing in their own right in a thrilling win over Juventus, score that ended 4-3, and then went on to tie against PSG not once but twice. In fact, they're the only other undefeated team in Europe alongside PSG. And having scored 20 goals in their last 4 matches played, they seem to only be getting better. As for my prediction between the defensive wall of Brugge versus the goal-scoring machine of Benfica, I'm going to have to go with the team with the most momentum. I have Benfica advancing to the quarterfinals. Keeping it moving here, and a repeat of the final from last season, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. And in truth, I think Klopp and his men will be cursing their luck, because if there's one team that they would have wanted to avoid, it's Los Blancos. Liverpool are without a win against Madrid in their last 6 matches played, and this is going to be the 4th time in the last 6 seasons that the Reds will be taking on Los Blancos. And Liverpool haven't exactly had the best start to their season. Domestically, they have been very poor, currently sitting in 8th in the Premier League with teams like Brighton and Newcastle above them. Now, that's not to say Madrid have been perfect, recently losing against Rayo Vallecano, and have slipped to 2nd place in La Liga behind arch rival Barcelona. As for my prediction, I think it still should be fairly clear. Going off of recent history as well as current form, I have to go with Real Madrid advancing to the quarterfinal. Here we go, next fixture, and we have AC Milan versus Tottenham Hotspur in what is honestly going to make for a very tough prediction. The two teams have only faced off against each other in the Champions League twice in their history, and the last time was way back in 2011. Back then, Tottenham had Crouch to thank with a late goal that was enough to best the Italian side. A decade later, and they face off again in very similar circumstances. AC Milan are starting to rise out of their ruins back into the Champions League after so many years without it, and Tottenham themselves have been improving, rising in the ranks of the Premier League for the last couple of years. Like I said, a tough prediction between these two teams that have so much in common. As for who I think will advance into the quarterfinals, I expect a razor thin margin of error, but I have AC Milan booking their spot in the quarterfinals. Up next, Borussia Dortmund taking on Chelsea. And first of all, let me go ahead and say I underestimated Borussia Dortmund in the group stage. I really didn't think that they had what it takes to get through that group, especially with Sevilla in Group G. But I must say that the German side has been an absolute pleasure to watch, and notably Bellingham has been amazing inside of this squad. He is doing an excellent job and is drawing the attention of just about every major team in Europe. As for the Blues, they were able to top their group, but recently have seen a sharp dip in form. Drawing against Manchester United, being thumped 4-1 by Brighton, and most recently losing against Arsenal. To be fair, it is still early days for head coach Porto, but the World Cup seems to be coming at a perfect time, right when things seem to be going south for Chelsea. As for my prediction, I am not going to take the German side lightly again. And given the Blues' woes as of late, I have Borussia Dortmund booking their ticket to the quarterfinals. Keeping it moving here, folks. Next match, Inter Milan versus Porto. Starting off with the Italian side, they played very well inside of Group C. Did about as good as you would expect against Bayern Munich, but I mean, it is Bayern Munich. But they were able to get the best out of Barcelona, kicking the Blaugrana into the Europa League for the second season in a row. Now, some of you might say they had a bit of luck on their side, they had some decisions go their way, and that's fair. But they got the job done. As for Porto, they have really surprised me this season, topping their group that had Atletico Madrid inside of it. I'm going to keep this fixture fairly short as well. I have Porto advancing to the quarterfinals. And last but certainly not least, we have an encore of the 2019-2020 final, PSG versus Bayern Munich. I must say, for me, this is probably the most exciting fixture because it could go either way. Starting off with the Parisians, that trident of Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar have been in scintillating form with 64 goals between them. For comparison, all of Bayern Munich have scored 59 goals so far this season. But while PSG may be an offensive powerhouse, Bayern Munich is going to be no easy task. Current leaders in the Bundesliga, as well as being the only team to be able to boast a perfect group stage. 6 out of 6 wins, and that's in the group of death with Barcelona and Inter Milan, and they made it look like a walk in the park. But before I get to my prediction here, I think there is one quality that clearly separates the two teams. When the pressure comes on, it always seems to me that PSG crumbles. And you only have to look as far as last season for a prime example against Madrid. Bayern, on the other hand, are incredibly disciplined and they look hungry as ever. I mean, if you watch that game against Barcelona, they were already through to the next round. They didn't even have to do anything, and yet they went out and attacked Barcelona like that game was everything, like they needed to win. And they have shown that they can beat PSG just like they did back in 2021 when they won their 6th Champions League trophy. For me, I have Bayern Munich advancing through to the quarterfinals. So there you have it, guys. Here are my top 8 to advance to the quarterfinals of this season's Champions League. Let me know what you make of my predictions. Do you agree? Disagree? Any comments? Violent outbursts of disagreement? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. And if you made it this far into the video, be sure to give me a like. Helps out the channel tremendously and lets me know that you want to see more Champions League related content. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.